Welcome to Is Anybody Listening to Me podcast with Azar and the Meat. It has been almost a month, I believe, since our podcast was sabotaged by the guest raccoon. I don't think we've actually gone on the air since that surprise presence, if I'm not correct. And we're long overdue, but we're really excited to catch up again and get back into a rhythm. I think we enjoyed the holidays far too much and got really carried away with it, but we're excited because the playoff season is here for football, and we're excited to make not me is excited. Big Me is excited to make his picks and predictions. Can he go back-to-back years? Can he do it, folks? All right, so let me get my partner in crime onto the podcast here. Big Meat, how's it going?
Good, and Happy New Year. I know it's a couple of weeks after the new year here, and they've been few and far between. We have so much to talk about, so many shows and movies and all these things that have kind of built up over the last few months. And you're right. I think what we did last year, kind of calling who the Super Bowl, what the Super Bowl matchup's going to be and who's going to win it and why. I think this is an exciting time. And, I'm going to save it for our sports segment later, but I think you guys might be surprised who my pick is this year of winning it all. You guys might be a little surprised. It's a bold move. I'll put it that way. It's very bold.
I gotta say, I think we were talking before the podcast, but I'm feeling a little bit more re-energized. As I was finally caught up on shows and movies, I was like, oh, there's so much I want to talk about now. Where before, I felt like I was in a slump. I couldn't there wasn't a lot of new things and exciting things to talk about, and I think we were just kind of struggling. But I think now that the personal stuff is out of the way, we had a chance to catch up. I think we're ready to do our long stretch, because if people want to look back, it was a stretch from January all the way through, I want to say October.
Yeah.
We were just going nonstop
every week.
So that's
I think we needed a little bit of a break. And I agree. I think we got that break. I think I'm re-energized to kick this up a notch. And the holidays are tough to try to put this through the holidays. Everybody's busy. But I do like to blame the raccoon. I think the raccoon almost single-handedly destroyed our podcast. But we bounced back. Back.
They wonder, well, how did the raccoon ruin it? Well, I think our third man is hurt because it's been a struggle to get the third man back on. Once he heard the raccoon take his spot, and he did his best. I know he's not made for podcasting. Let's just put it that way. He's more for a consuming podcast than actually contributing to a podcast.
I like to put it this way, Jarvis was actually talking about this on the text thread the other day about the Batman movies, and you have Keaton, and then you kind of throw in George Clooney in there, and it kind of kills the whole momentum of
Val
the Batman.
Kilmer.
And it's just people kind of lose interest after something like that. So, but then here comes Christian Bale to come save the day and become a good new Batman, and Affleck probably kind of killed it again for a little bit now, and then you got this new guy. So it goes ebbs and flows.
I'm shocked Keanu Reeves has not played one Batman ever in his career. I'm surprised they didn't take his his dry, faceless, expressionless face and put him on. I know we're gonna do the entertainment, but boy, man, I did watch that Matrix Resurrection.
Just a heaping pile of garbage. It was. I didn't think it could be any worse than the third one.
Yeah,
I didn't like the third one at all. It just got worse. The first one was great. Second one was okay. Third one was bad. Fourth one just the worst. Yeah. The worst.
The story got so complicated, and I was so lost. And I'm like, this is what I hated about the third one. The story just kind of jumped off the rails, and I'm like, But
they didn't keep it simple. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. But I like Keanu Reeves it's weird because I have this love-hate relationship with Keanu Reeves. He's a terrible actor. I just watch him act and I'm like, oh my God, this guy's the worst actor. And he's been doing movies now for 30 years. But, well, you could say the same thing about Nicolas Cage, right? He's been doing it even longer and he's still a bad actor. But I like him. I like his movies. I love the John Wick movies. I loved Speed. I like the first Matrix. I love The Replacements. that football movie. I like a lot. I like Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Like I like a lot of his movies, but he's not a good actor. But
No,
yet here he
no.
is. He's still one of the top actors in Hollywood. It's kind of strange how he does it.
Yeah, and he's getting old. You can tell that he's in that class that makes me kind of sad because there's not many guys that are taking the roles of that. Like I know The Rock right now is like the action star right now, and I know they're trying to get John Cena to fill some of that role in now, and he's not good. And The Rock has gotten better, but I know we're kind of drifting off the entertainment part, but like I can't think of who's the next young serious action star that you get excited to watch. Like I thought for a while Michael B. Jordan was going to be that guy, but he's not. They try to bring that guy Elba. What the heck's his name? Idris Elba. What the heck?
Yeah. He's older too, though. Now
But he's older, but he's so dry and boring. Like I've seen him
Yeah.
take a lead in a couple movies, one on Netflix, and I was like, he's terrible. He's terrible. He's not that good of like he might be a good actor, but his personality doesn't. He can't carry a movie like a Sylvester Stallone. Like who is the next Sylvester Stallone right now? There isn't one. There isn't.
Yeah,
like
are you talking about like the big muscle jacked like Arnold?
just the action star. Just that, not like even Arnold wasn't a great actor, but just what action? Like who do you see right now that if he was making a movie, you're like, I got to go see that action movie because
I think Chris Pratt. Chris Pratt's pretty good. Chris Pratt is now with all the Jurassic World movies, and he was in that. Which was it Netflix? Some movie, Tomorrow War, or whatever it was. That wasn't bad. And
was that Amazon?
Yeah, it might have been Amazon, but Chris Pratt is, he's kind of probably there.
I'll give you Chris Pratt. It's not a deep well. It's not deep.
No, I mean Leonardo DiCaprio has been kind of playing in a lot of like action movies, but he's kind of a mix. He does a lot of different mix of movies, but he's older now too. Like he's late 40s, I think. So yeah. I mean, I don't know.
Look at the cast of The Expendables. Those were guys that you probably wanted to see their action movies, right?
Yeah.
Look at all those guys.
It depends on like what you mean by action movie, like the badass, like Sylvester Stallone, like The Rock, right? I mean, I even Chris Pratt, does he even fall into that category?
I don't. That's you say that, but I don't look at him as like The Rock is probably the closest to the Sylvester Stallone, Arnold Schwarzenegger genre that they make these action movies you just can't wait to see. Even like Keanu Reeves to a point was someone that you looked for. Anytime he had an action movie, you were looking like when John Wick, you look forward to it because even though he's not a great actor, they were good movies. I don't know. I don't see a lot of guys. I don't see guys that that excite me now when they come into the theater. Like if Tom Holland went from Spider-Man and did an action movie, like, okay, Marvel's are action movies, but if he made like his own, like a CI, Chris Helmsworth, he did that. He did that action movie,
he's
right?
He's the guy. Yeah. If I was going to pick
he
one
doesn't
guy,
do enough of those. He doesn't do enough of those.
Yeah.
But he's a guy that I wouldn't mind seeing do more action. I'm done with the Mark Wahlberg. Hey, make me the centerpiece of every action movie. They're not. Yeah. They're okay. They're like, but they're not that great. They're not something that I'm like, I can't wait. Like, I'll watch a Rambo movie. I'll stop and watch any Sylvester Stallone movie, and I'll stop and watch it. I'll watch Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'll watch Predator if it's on the TV. I'd watch Commando. Those are movies that are just classics. Do you think Chris Pratt's rolling out with any classic action movie? Like even that movie he made was pretty good. I wouldn't care to see it. It was on TV. I'm not stopping to watch it again.
Right.
I think there's a gap. I think there's a gap that we're gonna miss out on. They got to find the next big actor.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe it's John Cena.
No. I know he's got an HBO special.
He is that. I've watched that trailer for the was it the Peacemaker, the one that spin off from the and even the trailer looks boring. Like even him in the trailer, I'm like, oh, this does not look good. I don't know if I even want to watch this. But I like John Cena. I like him. I like him. I like the guy. I don't like his acting. I agree. It's just like Keanu Reeves. It's a love-hate relationship there.
I'll give it to you, man. Like you'll watch it. You'll watch The Rock show just because he's on it. But anyways, all right, let's go back into our format. I wanted to let people know a recommendation. So I know I called it the whistling pig. I'm notorious for butchering names of things, but for Christmas I did get the Whistle Pig 10-year, and it's a rye whiskey that I have, and I got to say they are good. They are good. I know there's different years you can try, but I think I got the entry level for the gift. I obviously, out of respect, I didn't go and shop it out and see how much it was or anything, but it was a nice gift. And it was part of another part of the gift was I got this man crate. And I don't know if anybody's ever gotten it. It's basically this kit that you get in the mail, and the person can pick out whatever your interest is. So if you're into smoking, they'll send you like sauces and spices and stuff to do smoking meats. If you're into whiskeys, they'll send you a kit with glasses and ingredients to make like old fashions. And that's what my kit was. So I got Whistle Pig as a gift, and I got this man crate to make old fashions. So it had the ice cube trays and everything. Great gift. My recommendation is if you can find it, do the Whistle Pig whiskey, but they have this, it's called a smoking old fashioned. And what gives it that smoked flavor is this pecan wood smoked maple syrup that you add to the drink. So it's basically 2 ounces of whiskey, any whiskey, but like I said, I used Whistle Pig because that was the gift I got, and a teaspoon of this, look for it, pecan wood smoked maple syrup, and a couple dashes of bitters. And then I like to put an orange peel. That's what they recommend. And a giant ice cube. You just stir it, then you put your ice cube and you put your orange peel. Fantastic. I have not had a single old fashioned that I did not enjoy. Like it's like restaurant taste. So that's my recommendation. So when you come over, John, Big Meat, I will let you try it. You'll be
it sounds delicious, and it's something right up my alley. I had to snicker because you said pecan, and that's how I say it. But I remember having this discussion with Jarvis before. Is it pecan, or is it pecan, or is it pecan? That's how I say it, but I thought you said it pecan last time, so I think maybe you like changed your way of pronouncing it.
Yeah, I don't know. I've always said it as pecan. So.
No, but that does sound good. No, I'm not hating. I'm not hating. I love it when you're like, it's like, you don't have to be so mad, Jarvis. He was like, I wasn't mad. He goes, it's your judgy tone. You had a judgy tone.
He's as he's getting older, as he gets older, and I'm sure his wife is probably, when I know she listens, she's probably going to be like, yep, I can agree. I find he gets so much more testier with things that are just taking me by surprise.
You know when he gets testy? He gets testy when you call him out on something, and he gets defensive because he knows he's wrong, and then his voice starts getting louder, and he gets more animated, and he starts dropping F-bombs, and then you know you got him. Yeah. That's when you know, like, yep, I got you. I know you're full of shit because of the way you're acting.
I find like he must be bored sometimes, because sometimes I know when he's bored, because you get a flurry of text from him. And then if you don't respond, because you could be in the middle of it, he doesn't care. He doesn't ask, hey, anybody around? Like, why is no one responding to me? All he says, to be a dink, good talk. And I'm like,
oh, that's my line. I say that all the time. I say good talk all the time. I love it.
Yeah. So every time I see that from him, I'm like, you prick. First of all, let me tell you, I was busy. Let me respond. I don't know. I just see him like being aggravated like he's bored and wants to talk about a topic. And if you're not responding, he gets aggravated. So, and every time I see, and it could be hours later, like you see the text and hours later, good talk. And I'm like, it's like, take it easy, buddy. Take it easy.
I love it.
It's like after like a stressful day, I finally sit down on my couch. I look at my phone and I'm like, oh, okay, you jerk. Anyway,
he does get testy though. Lately, I think he's been, I don't know. He's been kind of, he's moody. I don't know. He better not turn into one of those like mopey characters that you hate so much in superhero movies. He better not be the mopey friend.
Yeah, I think it's we
don't like mopey Jarvis.
It's COVID winter. I think it's wearing on everybody. I can see it. But anyways, we were all there. We all have the young family. I know he's juggling that with work, and I can get it. It's tough. But but man, he's a character. But like I said, every time I see that good talk thing, I just start like I want to like scream at him.
No,
like,
I that cracks me up because that was something my daughter would say to me before too. And you're like, yeah, good talk. And then I started saying it, and then now I'm every time I put out a text and nobody responds, I feel that's all I feel like putting out there, just good talk.
You know what?
I think that's funny. I did not know that Jarvis does that.
You know what? That's funny you say that because I think that's my hidden aggression because my daughter does that to me. Like if I'm ignoring her, she gets mad and will tell me that. So that's funny. I wonder if that's why I get so frustrated when I hear that. Like I'm thinking of my kids being wise asses, but anyway,
everybody wants to be listened to, and everybody wants somebody to respond to them. That's why this is a good title for our podcast. Is anybody listening to me?
All right. So I just want to wrap it up. So if you want to shop, just Google the company that makes the flavor that I have. It's called Run Amok Maple, and it's smoked with pecan wood maple syrup. I found it online. So if you type in Run Amok smoked or pecan wood maple syrup, it's about $18 a bottle, worth the investment. So if you want to, I don't know if they sell it at liquor stores. I just know you can buy it online. So that's my recommendation. Definitely worth the money, and it will last you forever because you're only putting in a teaspoon per glass, or for big meat, maybe a weekend at his retirement place. You know, he'll be making drinks all weekend. They might not last him, but
no, I'll be eating it right out of the jar.
Yeah, but you know, just put a straw.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I would make a
places.
sangria picture with it. Like I can see you making a sangria picture.
Yes. I would drink it like that. I do love my my whiskey with a little bit of like. It's weird how some people make it, like depending on where you go. Some of them are just not that good, and then some of them are just tasty as all hell. Yeah. And then you're like, what do they put? It can't just be like the cherry. It can't just be the bitters. Like, what else are they putting in there? They're putting something like some flavor that you know that they're not like that. It's that you don't see it on the drink menu. You know what I mean? And it's like, wow, what's that sweet taste that comes from it? Because sometimes you look at the whiskey and it's just like regular Bullet Rye or whatever, and it's just and you're like, why does it taste like this? I put exactly the same ingredients at home, and I can't have it taste like this. So
exactly, and I think because this maple syrup thing, it gives it that sweetness. You know, because I always thought it was the cherry that made it sweet, but I done the cherries. I did like everything you're saying. I put the bitters. I'm like, it doesn't have the same flavor. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't know what they're doing. Is it a flavored whiskey? I don't think so. Cause I asked for this specific whiskey. So I could never figure it out, but I think that's what it is. That there's flavorings that you can add, give it like that smoky old fashioned or so. Anyways, I think it's worth the investment.
Well, next time I'm at your house, you better hide it. Because you know I'm going to finish that bottle, or finish. What is it? What does it come in a jar? What would you say? The pecan flavor maple. What is it? Is it like
it's a small jar. It's just like a jar. Small. Okay. It's like it looks. How to describe it? I want to say it looks like almost like a mini flask. It's nothing. It's just a little bottle, almost like a little. Actually, not like a flask. Yeah, you know, some maple syrups. They look like they're like almost like that rounded. Bottles. They're like little fancy bottles that are just like it's not like a bitters bottle or something. It's a little bit more fancy. Like the bitters that came with it, it's actually it has those eyedroppers. So you can actually put the perfect amount of bitters. Like it says three drops, and you can just put 3 perfect drops, and it's just spot on.
Okay.
Because the bitters that I have, you have to dash it, and I always don't know if I'm putting enough. Is that like right? Yeah. This one's like a little medicine dropper that comes with it. I'm like, ooh, this is classy. Yeah.
Fancy.
Yeah. Hey, if you want, go to Man Crate and order yourself a crate and have it delivered.
There you go.
The ice cube trays are phenomenal. The giant square ice cubes and this, they're perfect every time. They come right out of the ice tray holder. And I've been enjoying my whiskeys since Christmas. So I'm still on the whiskey kick. No, not gin and tonic, not mojitos.
You know what I was going to say? Well, it's been a while since we had the podcast. So there was like all summer, you're like, I'm going to drink gin and tonics all summer. And then it was like, nope, drinking mojitos.
I did buy a bottle of Bombay for over the Christmas break. I did have Bombay Sapphires.
Okay, all right, yeah, that was my go-to back in college.
It's still the gold standard. I don't care.
Yeah.
I was thinking I had the Aviator, and I had that. I'm like, I still love Bombay. You can't go wrong. The Bombay Sapphire, you just can never go wrong. It's always
it's tasty.
Good. But anyways, all right, Big Meat. Everybody's dying. We're now in 2022, and I know you're excited to have the entertainment and review with Big Meat. He's going to give us his top 2021 movies and shows, and he's going to give you his bottom 5, what he felt was the bottom 5. And of course, I'm sure he's going to pick something that's going to aggravate me, and I will nitpick and rebuttal. So, all right, Big Meat, why don't you get started and give us...
I mean, 2021 was a long year. It was a lot of shows, a lot of movies that came out. We had a lot of time to kind of binge watch a lot of shows. Plus Disney Plus had their series of shows, and then now it seems like every year there's a new streaming service with a new show that's coming out that everybody's got to watch. And I didn't watch everything that was out there, but I think I watched enough that were like the top shows and the top movies that have come out, at least in our genre of what we like, right? I mean, we're not picking like Academy Award winning movies and be like, oh, you got to watch this movie.
No. This really is a simple man's podcast. We're not articulate, as you can tell by me, but we keep it simple. We're not artsy. We are just about body counts, potentially nudity. There's categories that define what's quality to us. So very simple.
Yeah. And I had to do this based on I had to mix the shows together with the movies, because like shows, it's like unless it's Marvel, you kind of have to watch through the whole season, because you kind of have to, because it leads into the next series. But if there's a show that you're like, oh, I'll watch this show. If it's a shitty show, you get 2 episodes in, you're like, screw it, I'm not watching the rest of this. Like, I've done that before. You know what I mean? But so it's hard to kind of gauge it on shows. Whereas movies, you might watch the whole movie just to get through the 2 hours of nonsense, and you just like, by the end of it, you're like, what the hell did I just watch? But I went through and I actually made a list. So here's like, before I get into my top 5 and bottom 5, I'm just going to run through. It's a lot now that I'm looking at this. I watch too much TV. I'm going through this, the middle of the pack, right? And here's like, now they're not my top 5, they're not my bottom 5, but I'm just going to run through them really quick. Some of the shows first. Heels, that wrestling show. Hawkeye, Loki, the What If animated Marvel shows. Sweet Tooth, remember that one, Azar?
Oh, yeah.
Yellowstone, Tiger King Season 2. Cruella, that we're getting into the movie, Suicide Squad, Jungle Cruise, Tomorrow War, Venom, Let There Be Carnage, Mortal Kombat, Army of the Dead, Fast and Furious 9, Space Jam, Coming to America, the sequel, Shang-Chi, Black Widow, and the Justice League Snyder Cut. And I haven't got into my top 5, so I'm going to go to my top 5.
For those that are listening, I just want you to know, yes, he is married. Yes, he has children at home. Does he actually work? Is the question.
A lot of shows. I still got 10 more to go here, Asa. 10 more to go.
All right.
Do you want my top 5 or bottom 5 first?
Why don't we do the worst? I like to see what you think were the worst.
All right. The bottom 5 shows / movies of 2021. First, it's got to be Falcon and Winter Soldier. Just utter disappointment. Just disappointment. If you were going to tell me, hey, I want you to sit down, I'm going to force you, I'm going to put a gun to your head, you got to watch one of these shows over again in 2022, I'd rather watch Sweet Tooth before I have to watch Falcon and Winter Soldier again. I'm telling you, I'd rather watch all those shows that I mentioned before I have to watch it, because I thought it was that bad. It was such a disappointment.
I think it was more, to me, it was more of a disappointment than it was terrible. I know I could see what they were trying to do. They were trying to character develop and all that. It's just the expectation felt so much higher.
Sure, but that's why I had to preface it earlier, saying that there's worse shows. I just never got to the end of them because they were so bad. I just stopped watching. These are shows that I actually finished from start to finish.
Yeah,
so it's a little bit of a I guess a cop out here, because it's like I had to watch Falcon and Winter Soldier. I didn't have to watch, some of these other shows. right?
Okay.
I mean,
Fair
like
enough.
if
Fair
I
enough.
didn't like Heels, I would have stopped watching it, but I did like it, so I watched it kind of all the way through. But anyway,
Okay.
so that was
Fair enough.
one of my bottom shows. The next bottom show, Young Rock. It's just I had to throw that in there.
All right.
It's
Thank you.
not
All right.
okay. You
Okay.
happy? I knew
I'm
you were gonna
happy.
maybe have that on my list. It was
Okay.
not good. It
I thought
was
you were gonna
not
put that
good
in
at
your
all.
top five. Honestly, I thought you'd
No,
put
no,
that in
no,
your
no,
top
no.
five.
No,
All
no,
right.
no. And Young Rock is the only show on this list that was on like a cable network, like what do you call it? Not like a streaming service or anything like that.
Yeah.
So I had to put Young Rock on there. Another one, and I love the show when it was out back in the '90s, early 2000s. Many Saints of Newark. It was bad. That was actually wasn't a show. That was a movie. The Sopranos kind of prequel
Okay.
that they made. It was
I
awful.
I heard terrible, terrible reviews on that.
So boring. It didn't even match the tone of it. It was so bad. I was so disappointed.
Yeah.
My other movie, Godzilla versus Kong. It was just, man, like just watch. I think I said this in the podcast at the time. Just watch the last 10 minutes. Watch the fight. Watch the fight between Godzilla and Kong, and that's it. Rest of the movie doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter. It makes no sense. It does a stupid story. It's just slogs through the whole thing. It's just boring as hell. Just watch the fight, and that's not even a movie. It's just whatever. Just two monsters battling it out.
I like
And
it.
then
I agree. I
my
agree.
my last bottom five show or movie. We mentioned it earlier, or maybe even before the podcast. We brought it up. Matrix Resurrections.
Yeah. No, we brought it up.
Oh, bad, so bad, so bad. I mean, it got worse. Matrix got worse as it went on. So it's just, yeah, you're right. What you said earlier, it just that didn't make sense. Love Keanu Reeves, but didn't make any sense. There was no action in it. Like, where's the action? Where was like the best scene in that movie? And this is a spoiler alert for those who haven't seen it.
You're not gonna watch it anyway.
Don't
so
even
that's
bother
cool.
watch it.
Yeah.
Is the scene when all the people were jumping out of the buildings to try to
Oh
like
yeah.
right, they were kind of being taken over by the whatever it is. I still don't know what the hell I watched, but they were being taken over by
Yeah.
whatever the bots or whatever they are. Then they're jumping out the window to try to catch Keanu Reeves and whatever the hell her name is. But anyway, it was bad. Those were my bottom five. Do you
All
agree?
right.
Would you say those are kind of?
I can't disagree. I'm trying to think of the stuff that I've watched, and you definitely watch more stuff than I do. But yeah, I did not. I hated The Matrix. I finished it. Godzilla. Yeah, yeah. I didn't see many Saints of Newark, but the reviews were so bad. I knew not to bother. Young Rock, I knew was a disaster. I didn't even have to watch that. I knew that was a disaster. Yeah, I like it.
And I listed out the rest of the. That's why I listed out the complete list, so at least you have some what to compare it to. You know, yeah, because I didn't love Fast and Furious 9, but I liked it better than those five.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
But that didn't make my top five. To move on to my top five. I think some of them are pretty obvious. WandaVision, still my favorite Marvel Disney Plus TV show that has come out. Like it's still my favorite. One of those shows that started off a little slow, but then now looking back, it's like, okay, it made sense. It flows into the storyline. That's why they had to kind of drag it out like that. So it kind of just built up that suspense, and then you kind of know at the end of the show, like, oh, I know what they were trying to do. It made sense. I like that. The second on my list is and this is kind of cheating a little bit because it came out on New Year's Eve the last season, and then this season came out again on New Year's Eve. So whichever season you want to say, season 3 or season 4, Cobra Kai. Cobra Kai was an entertaining show that I look forward to. It's been kind of a tradition every year. They release it every New Year's Eve. They've gone 4 seasons now. It seems like every year I think they already finished filming the 5th season, which is scheduled now to come out at the end of this year again on New Year's Eve. So it's just a fun kind of nostalgic show, especially if you grew up watching the Karate Kid. My next one, and I don't know if you even watched this, but I mentioned this before, and it was a fun show.
Don't say Sweet Tooth.
Squid Game.
Oh,
No, Sweet Tooth was on my middle of the pack. Squid Game. I don't know if you've ever watched it. That was
No.
a fun, kind of wild, crazy, lot of death, in that one.
Yeah.
And that was kind of an interesting. If you could get past the the dubbing of the, because it was a Korean movie, and if you can get past that, it was a very entertaining show. My next two are movies. Spider-Man: No Way Home. It was good. I don't think it was one of the best, like the best Marvel movie, like everybody's saying, but I thought it was good. It was kind of like, it was hyped up, and I liked it. I liked kind of the surprises that came from it, and it was it was a fun movie, and it leads into some bigger things that are coming in the Marvel series. My last and final one, to bring up The Rock again. The Rock is in my bottom
the Jungle
five.
Cruise?
He's in no. The Jungle Cruise was on my middle of the pack list.
All right.
Red Notice. I love that movie. Red Notice with Ryan Reynolds and Wonder Woman herself there, Gal Gadot. That was a good movie. Did you watch that?
I did. I would say that was a good movie. I agree.
Good action, good story, good surprise ending. Like, it was just, I liked it. I think it was funny. I think the three of them together in that movie, it was like, it's star-studded. It's like, you can't ask for anything more. I thought it was good. When I look back to everything that I've watched, I thought that was great.
Okay.
Danielle, my wife came down and now she's staring at me like, what are you guys talking about?
All right. So I like, well, other than Squid Game.
Oh. She's saying, I made you watch it. That's she wants to take it. Ladies and gentlemen, this is my wife trying to take credit for all the great shows and movies that I've watched and try to educate our listeners on what to watch. I give credit to my wife. That's all she wants. She just wants credit.
All right. I don't know if Big going to keep it or edit it out, but anyways.
No, I'm going to keep it. All right.
I like Red Notice. That was a fun movie. A little bit of the twist at the end was good. And Ryan Reynolds, who plays the same character in like almost every movie now, I think like he's just that's why true. Like he's in good action movies or show, like not shows, but good action movies, if you want to call them like action movies. But the funny thing about him is he's just the same guy in every, like he could play
same humor, like sarcastic humor. Yeah, you're right. He does play the same character.
He's Deadpool in every single movie.
Yep.
Like he's just Deadpool. Anyways, so I like Red Notice. I like Spider-Man. I am surprised you. I would actually put, and believe it or not, even though it's a kids movie, I thought Cruella was probably, and again, I know our buddy Jarvis would say the music, I thought that was probably the most complete movie in 2021. Like beginning to end, it was actually entertaining. The story was original. Like it was an original story. It wasn't like, I know it was coming from, it's like a prequel to the movie, so it's not totally original. But I thought like Emma Stone was great in it. I thought it was such a fun movie. So I'm surprised you didn't give it more weight. Because if I was going to recommend a movie, I would say watch Cruella. You might think it's a kid's movie, and I don't know, but it's actually dark. It's a dark movie, and it's actually an interesting story, and it's creative. I thought it was really well done. And I'm surprised you didn't put Black Widow in there. As good as WandaVision, Loki, I enjoyed them.
Yeah.
I did like Black Widow. I liked seeing her. I know you didn't like the timing of it, why they dropped it then and like all that. But Black Widow, almost like the TV shows, was introducing new characters that are going to be part of the Marvel universe moving forward. And you saw it in Spider-Man, right? You saw her in Spider-Man, right?
Yeah.
No.
The Hawkeye.
The Hawkeye show. I'm sorry. Yeah. So I thought I actually liked Black Widow. That was one of the first. I thought Cruella was the first movie that you could stream that I thought was really good. And then the first movie you could actually go to a movie theater and watch was Black Widow. And I thought it was well done. I thought it was well done for a movie. But I see your list. Like I said, I didn't watch Squid Game, so I can't judge you on that. I haven't finished Cobra Kai. Cobra Kai is a fun show. I don't think you could.
Yeah.
I just think it's kind of like the same
season year after year.
Yeah. It's not. It's not like it's really.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
like from creativity. Like if I was going to say like what's original and creative, Cobra Kai is just an extension of something we've
Yeah.
already built on. That's why I like WandaVision.
Yeah.
WandaVision was truly unique as a show. I
Right.
thought Cruella, the movie, was very unique compared to everything else that we watched, and it was fun. The music was good. It was you stayed entertained, even though I thought I was going to hate the movie. I actually ended up enjoying it. I even thought the Jungle Cruise was well done.
It was.
Despite,
I like the jungle. Yeah. Listen. It's hard when you can only limit it to 5, right?
Yeah.
So I thought long and hard. Black Widow almost made my list.
but I'm going to give you the best
Almost.
show that came out that I enjoyed, that had me. The last 2 episodes of the season had me complete suspense, like because the Paramount platform drops it like I think like Amazon and Disney Plus, they drop it on a weekly basis, so you have to sit and wait the following week. And I was like, we couldn't wait to watch it. Is Mayor of Kingstown? Well,
is it really? So I've not watched, but that's kind of this year though. That wasn't 2021 though.
It started
in
over
December,
Christmas,
and now it's going over.
So it rides that line. If like, well, when it ends, is that a 21 show, or is
right?
Because that technically that means Boba Fett would be ruled out. Because
yeah. That's not on my list because that kind of And Cobra Kai came out December 31st, so technically, and it's Netflix, so all 10 episodes get dropped. So it's like if you watched it this year, still it came out last year. So
if you want to table it right now, the show to beat for 2022, then if we say it's not eligible for 21, Mayor of Kingstown, highly recommend it.
Okay.
Like I said, the last 2 episodes are so intense. That you're like, and I don't know where they're going to go from. I don't know how they do a sequel season to it. I think I can see where, but one of the main villains is Littlefinger from Game of Thrones.
Okay.
And he plays that same conniving, creepy, like you want him to get killed by the end kind of character. He's so good at being a villain, like being that Weasley character. He's in it, and Jeremy Renner. Is that
Renner? Renner. Yeah. Hawkeye.
And
Hawkeye himself.
He is if you watched Hawkeye, he is like the complete opposite character. Like he is dark. He's like what are those villains that are like they're actually heroes, but they're villains at the same time?
Like the anti-hero?
Anti-hero. Yeah, thank you. I was trying to think of the word they use.
Yeah.
He's definitely the anti-hero in the show. And there's a lot of nudity. So if you're a guy
okay. Now you piqued my interest. Yeah. So my wife did watch it and she loved it and I didn't watch it. So there you go. I don't watch everything. But now I'm intrigued. Now I do want to actually go back and watch it because she loved it and she said it did have a explosive ending. It was unbelievable. It was great how it ended. So I'll watch it and maybe who knows? I mean, if we want to consider that in 2021, maybe that makes my top 5 after somebody gets bumped out. Okay. But I thought my top 5 were.
I don't mind leaving it for 2022 if you want to leave that. But it is interesting because another show that we tease about it all the time. But I was looking at the reviews on it or what Netflix tries to say. But we're right now watching The Witcher season 2, and it definitely has. I can see what they're trying to do. Witcher 2, I think the design is we want to be like Game of Thrones. We're not as good. We're never going to kind of match Game of Thrones' quality and intensity. But it is interesting is that it's got a lot of twists and turns, and it's got a lot of people trying to jockeying for power. So really, it's like you have to pay attention to the show. And season 2 is faster paced than season 1. I thought season 1 was like a slog getting through the first half of season 1. Then it picked up for the rest of it. Season 2 is better. And I'm shocked that what Netflix is saying, it's one of their most downloaded shows ever. And it's with all the stuff that they've had that is widely popular. Shockingly, The Witcher is so well received on the Netflix platform. And it's funny to me why it is that way. Because it's a good show, but it's no Game of Thrones. Like I'm not dying. Like I'm not waiting on a Sunday to watch Game of Thrones as I was near the end. So
maybe that's what it is. Maybe people are still hungry for that Game of Thrones, like because Game of Thrones wasn't. I mean, other than like the last season where there was a couple of episodes and then a few episodes here and there, it was slow paced. It was a slow paced show, and that wasn't the the point of it. Like they weren't trying to go. They were just building up a good story, good actors, good suspense that it's leading to something big, right? Because people were like, "Oh, I can't wait till um geez, been forever now." The uh uh anyway, the woman with the dragons there that was like she's like, oh, Khaleesi.
Yeah,
And
Khaleesi.
when she comes over, and what is she gonna like, who is she gonna battle it out? Is she gonna battle it out with like Cersei, or is Jon Snow gonna get it? Who's gonna be the one on the throne at the end of it? So it was kind of like leading to an ending that people were anticipating, right? And
Yeah.
and it wasn't a fast-paced show. It was very slow, but people were still caught up with it because of all the different actors and all the characters, all the different characters. And if you remember watching that show, you would have, an hour show, you would watch maybe 10 minutes of one scene, and then they would cut to another 10 minutes with another set of characters, and then another 10 minutes. And it's like, it was all different. It was like watching a 10-minute show
So that's
for
Witcher.
each one.
Witcher is trying to copy that. So you're
Mm,
following. There's like multiple stories going on at once, and you're trying to keep up. And that's what they do. They go back and forth to these characters throughout the story. So they're kind of all on their own trajectory.
yeah,
But
yeah.
at some point they're all going to crash because they have to crash because they're all fighting to
Right.
like rule this kingdom. So it is interesting. But what Game of Thrones does well, and I think this is why I think Witcher is kind of copying their format. It's slow, like you're saying. It's building the storyline. Everybody has their own arc, that these new villains are being introduced and these new players in the story. But as the season progresses, all of a sudden the momentum picks up. And you saw that with Game of Thrones. By the last 3 or 4 episodes of the season, especially the last 2, you were like hooked. Like there was always like this major, like the Red Wedding, or the
Right.
or I'm trying to think of the scene with what's his name,
The battle of the bastards or whatever.
Yeah, like that was probably one of the best seasons of Game of Thrones, right? Like right up to the end, you were like just captured by it. Like you just couldn't wait to see it. But again, that whole season wasn't like that. It just kind of built up, where all of a sudden these things all crashed at the end, and you couldn't wait for the next season because they left you so excited. And that's something I saw Witcher seems to be copying. I'd be curious if Amazon copies it. I don't know. What is that show that Amazon released? I don't hear much about it. Wheel of Time, or
The Wheel of Time. Yeah. I didn't watch it. No, not at all. But I heard it was what they're saying. It was good, but it's based on like a novel, like a series of books, and like the books are like 15 books or something ridiculous like that. So it's like they have a lot of content to go by, and that's another one of those shows that you're hearing. They're trying to duplicate Game of Thrones. They're trying to like say it's the next show, but I haven't heard enough buzz about it to give it a shot.
Yeah, Witcher, I hear buzz about. Witcher, I see tweets about it or people talk to. I don't hear anything about that show. Like, so maybe if I have if like there's nothing out, after the Super Bowl, there's always like a dead time of sports. Sometimes I'll get into that. But anyways, let's segue right there. Thank you, Big Meat, for your review of 2021 shows and entertainment. Maybe you should watch a little less TV in 2022. But
now I got to watch Mayor of Kingstown, so that's not happening.
I noticed that as soon as I said nudity, that just there was a slam dunk for you for the show. So let's talk about after a long season of watching, now you're at the end and all the excitement kind of comes crashing at once. The playoffs, the NFL playoffs are finally here.
Yes.
And this weekend's going to be exciting. We have the Patriots versus Buffalo. That's our game that we're all excited about. But there's a lot of other good games going on. But Big Meat, like last year, you called it. You called Tampa through the entire playoffs. You had them winning the Super Bowl.
Yes, sir.
Can you go back to back?
Yes,
What's
sir.
your prediction this year? Go ahead. Do you want to give Jarvis's?
Let's give Jarvis's, because he texted us the other day on his prediction. Didn't really go into why or who's actually going to win, but his Super Bowl matchup this year, the Tennessee Titans and the Green Bay Packers. Surprise, surprise. Aaron Rodgers, big fan of his.
He's rooting for Tampa, he says. He's still rooting for Tampa to win.
But he's rooting for Tampa. He is rooting for Tampa. And so yes, but his heart says Tampa. His brain and maybe his wallet, if he's betting on these games, is saying Green Bay.
All right.
So that's his 2 picks. I don't know if that's really a big surprise. I mean, you're going with the two number one seeds in each conference. That's not going bold, Azar. That's not a bold.
Yeah,
Maybe Tennessee a little bit
Tennessee's a
because
little bit bold. I don't know. I think easier to say Chiefs and Green Bay would have been an easier thing to say. Wouldn't you think? Like
sure, but
no.
is Derrick Henry coming back? That's the question. Is he coming back?
So they said last week they thought he was going to come off the IR. He was eligible to come off the IR, but they didn't. So I don't know if that's because they didn't need him this week and they were going to wait for the playoff. But I haven't heard they have a bye week, so technically they don't have to say anything until the week after, right? After this weekend, they have to say something.
They don't have to say anything until after this week. Yeah, and they were considering bringing him back for the final game of the season. So my guess is that he will be back. He will be back for the first playoff game.
I think if he's healthy, he's going to want to play.
Yeah.
But again, how healthy is he going to be? Is he going to be still he's a tank? And one thing about him is once he got going, for a guy his size, that's what made him dangerous. But if he's already slow to the start and can't get his momentum going, is he going to be that? Or is he going to re-injure himself? Like, I don't know. I don't know if Tennessee is the real deal anymore because they're not the same team after he went down. They don't feel like they were same after Derrick Henry went down. So I think I felt like they limped along.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion.
Well, I mean, he went down weeks ago, long time ago, and they still managed the number one seed in the AFC. So they were still winning games. Maybe they weren't winning as big, but they were still winning games, and that's why they're my pick to go to the Super Bowl. Tennessee. I mean, this is if Derrick Henry comes back, and I think all the signs are pointing to that he will come back because people forget how much of a beast he was running for like 180 yards and 3 touchdowns, like almost every game. I mean, it was ridiculous what he was doing. He was going to shatter records, both rushing yardage, and touchdowns if he never got hurt. So they just have, like with Mike Vrabel, they just have that smash mouth type attitude, and they have the number one seed. So in previous years, remember they had 2 teams that had a bye week. This year, and then the way they did it last year, only one team because they expanded the playoff format to the top 7 teams. So they already have an advantage over everybody else. They got the home field advantage. I don't see the AFC being that strong to begin with. Like in any other year, I'd say no, man. They're kind of fool's gold, but the AFC is just not strong enough. And when you have that bye week and you have home field advantage throughout the playoffs, I think this is the year that they go. And if Derrick Henry comes back, Tannehill did not have a great year, but he finished the season with 4 touchdown passes. I mean, he went a stretch of throwing like 1 or none or no touchdowns in like, I forget what it was.
They weren't consistent.
It was like 7 straight games. But like I said, Tannehill finished with 4 touchdown passes the final game. And they still have A.J. Brown. He was kind of banged up a little bit throughout the year. Julio Jones was banged up. They still got weapons. And like I said, Derrick Henry's going to come back. I think they're built for the playoffs. That's why I like them. That's why I like them. But they're not winning. They're not winning the Super Bowl.
All right, who's winning it?
The team that's winning the Super Bowl this year.
It's coming out of the NFC, obviously.
Coming out of the NFC. It's not Green Bay. It's not Tampa Bay. The Dallas Cowboys.
Wow, really?
Bold statement right here. Bold. Wow. Because I don't like to go easy, Azar. I'm not going Green Bay. I got the home field advantage. I'm not going Tampa Bay. No. This is the year of the Dallas Cowboys because Dak Prescott is playing out of his mind. They still got Ezekiel Elliott. They got CeeDee Lamb. They got a pretty decent defense, especially that rookie linebacker that seems to have a sack almost every game. I think Prescott's hungry. The whole team is hungry. I just see Dallas kind of surprising some people. They have a tough matchup in the first game against San Francisco.
It's a tough matchup. My upset of the weekend.
So you don't even think they're going to get out of the first round? I think this is the year. The Cowboys.
I think Mike McCarthy will blow it. Mike McCarthy. Yeah. The 49ers are a better coach team, and I think even though Dak Prescott is the more talented quarterback and they have some great weapons, Deebo Samuel is playing out of his mind right now.
He is.
He's like
He's the
crazy.
do-it-all guy. Yeah.
And they still have Kittle. There's still talent on the 49ers. And they're well coached. I think this is the game where the better coach will make the least amount of mistakes. His team will be ready. Because I think with Mike McCarthy, when we've seen this season with the Cowboys, they make a lot of stupid mistakes. They almost like shoot themselves in the foot too often in some of these games. I mean, we watched them play in Tampa, and that was a great game. And it was very competitive. But I like watching them for the rest of the season. There's games that Ezekiel Elliott just completely disappears. And there are games where it's all on Dak, and he's prone to mistakes. And then there's just some boneheaded play calling. McCarthy does these clock management. I don't know. I feel like he does he's got like that Andy Reid stink about him. Like Andy Reid got over the hump, but that's because he had a great quarterback in Mahomes that carried him over the hump. But he's prone to mistakes in the playoffs, just like Bruce Arians if it wasn't Tom Brady. Bruce Arians is one of those coaches that screws it up. Like he'll find a way to screw up a game, but you have Tom Brady, who's the real coach of the team, like the real leader of that team.
Yeah.
I don't know. I see the 49ers going there and punching the Cowboys in the mouth, and Mike McCarthy will go down blowing that game. That's just my prediction on that game.
All right. I could certainly see that happening as you're explaining it, but I still just think I like Prescott. I like where his head is at. I think he had a nice, bounce back year from the injury last year. He had a really good year. I know they lost their last game against Arizona, but he's just like, I think when he wants to turn it on, he's gonna turn it on. And Elliott is still a good running back. I know, like you said, he was a little inconsistent, but by the end of the year, he still had a good year.
Not a little. I mean, there were times where Pollard was getting more carries than him, just because it just didn't make any sense. It looked like Elliott was slower, where Pollard looked more explosive into the holes. I don't know. Because we're in the Northeast, we tend to get a lot of Cowboy games.
Yeah,
I've watched some of those games, and I did not understand like the inconsistency of Elliott. Like is he hurt? Like I didn't understand it.
Right. And maybe they're saving him. Maybe they're saying that this is their plan all along, is to don't give him a lot of carries, because he didn't have a lot of carries, not as many as he's used to be, as he's accustomed to. Yeah, who knows? I like their overall. I like their three kind of pronged attack there with Prescott, Elliott, and CeeDee Lamb. Not a lot of teams have that. Kansas City has that. You could say maybe Green Bay has that, although Aaron Jones I had him in my fantasy league, is major disappointment for me.
Well, that's because Dylan ate up a lot of his.
Yeah. Not a lot of teams have that, and just the way they've been playing, on the defensive side. I don't want to go with I don't want to go with Green Bay, right? Green Bay was like, whatever.
But Green Bay's problem is the same problem. Who's going to screw it up? Is it Rodgers going to screw it up, or LaFleur?
It could be both. I'm basing it on history with Aaron Rodgers. I mean, why is this year any different? Weren't they the number one seed last year?
Yeah,
and they lost in the NFC. The year before that, they were great. They lost. It was like every year, they're like, oh, Green Bay. They lose every year. They don't even make it to the Super Bowl. So why is this year any different?
Yeah, I'm having a hard time betting against Tampa going back to the Super Bowl.
I probably would have picked Tampa if Antonio Brown didn't take crazy pills the last couple of games ago, and if Godwin didn't tear his ACL. Okay. That's it. Those are two weapons that Brady loves to kind of dump the ball off to, and I know they still have Mike Evans and Gronk, but Brady. He loves that kind of slot receiver going over the middle, kind of like that guy, right? You take that away, and I don't even know where is Fournette even. Is he hurt still? Is he back? I'm not even sure. I just too many injuries at the wrong time.
They're not the same team.
Yeah.
I find, but it's just tough to bet against Brady because he's the most consistent player when the spotlight's on. everybody else you can see choking in the spotlight. Brady seems to do it. And I know I always bash Brady, but look at what he did again this year. He is amazing for what he's accomplished. He feels like he can read any defense. Like, it's the team around him that I feel like falls apart. But what's might kill him this year is the defense isn't as good as last year. That's the problem.
No, their defense was playing towards the end of last season. They had the momentum going, right? Their defense was getting better and better and better, and I didn't see any momentum, neither on the defensive side or the offensive side. They didn't get better the last couple of games when those guys either got hurt or Antonio Brown went to the psych ward to check his head, because it's just not. They're not the same. They're not. I can't see. And if they do, my goodness, like, I don't know. I mean, if Brady pulls this off again after those two guys are gone, and now you're doing it with a not as talented of an offensive team, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
I mean, the reason. Look at the 49ers and Cowboys is a tough matchup, right? You can see the 49ers beating the Cowboys, and you see the Cowboys beating the 49ers.
Yeah.
I see the Rams beating the Cardinals. I just think the Cardinals, I don't know, like, if Kyle Murray's off, they're off, and the whole team sucks. I think if the Rams can get the running game going, they can I feel like there's more weapons on the Rams. I think they're going to sneak that one out. The Buccaneers are going to cruise through the Eagles. Like, that's the one that just, they're going to cruise through that.
Right. Right.
So right now in this round, I say I think the Buccaneers are going to be sneaky and get all the way to the NFC Championship. Who are they going to face? I want to see after this round. Obviously, it's easier to pick when it gets a little bit thinner. But to me, I'm leaning more Bucks. I can see the Bucks.
Yeah. Well, Green Bay just has to win one game to be in the NFC Championship, right? I mean, they have to beat whoever.
I see it being the Bucks and Green Bay going at it again. Now, the trick is they're going to say, well, the Bucks are going to go up to Green Bay and it's going to be cold. Tom Brady doesn't care if it's cold. Like, that doesn't stop him. Like,
right.
So I don't know. Right now, the way the NFC is, I think they're kind of unpredictable. But the AFC is even harder to predict. In my heart, I'm all in on the Bengals. I want to see the Bengals win.
Of course,
I want to see them.
Pickle Bengals. You pickle Bengal.
I emotionally invested into the pickle Bengals this year, and Joe Mixon and Burrow. But they're playing lights out. I don't know if they can maintain that offense with Chase and Burrow. If Burrow can stay at the level he's been playing the last couple of weeks of the season, but how can you tell me they're not a very dangerous team going into this playoff?
Yeah, no, they're tough, but they're the Bengals. They're the Bengals.
I know they got the reputation. So my heart wants the Bengals. I just feel like they're going to screw it up. They'll probably get eliminated against the shitty Raiders, who, how the hell they're in the playoffs?
The Raiders. I know. I can't believe the Colts are not in the playoffs. That's
exactly.
What a complete shock that the Colts are not in there.
But the AFC is tough to pick. Like, I know you're saying Tennessee, but they're not very sexy. Yeah, it's not.
It's weak. And even the Patriots, like, I mean, a few weeks back, we were like, oh, yeah, they're like a Super Bowl bound. They're like the number one seed in the AFC. It's like all smoke and mirrors.
If the Bills can get through the Patriots, who is technically like their arch nemesis, like they can get through it. And
I do think the Patriots will beat the Bills, by the way. I think the Bills are fool's gold. Yeah, I don't like the Bills at all. Wow. I think the Patriots beat the Bills. They played them twice. Obviously, they're in their own division. I just think 2 games against Bill Belichick, I think Josh Allen played out of his mind against them the last game. I just think they're going to be ready for him. They're going to be ready for him this time around, and I think the Patriots will upset. I just think the Patriots are going to lose either the next round or the round after that. If they play Tennessee, Mike Vrabel, he's
the bracket? Is that the bracket?
I don't know if it's. Yeah, I don't know if they reseed it. I don't know if because I mean the Patriots are only what are they, the 5 or the 6 seed? So I'm only assuming that if they reseed, that they're going to be the ones that end up playing the number 1 seed in Tennessee. Okay. They're not going to beat Tennessee, whether they play them the next round or the round or in the AFC Championship. I just don't see. Mike Vrabel seems to kind of have Belichick's number. He kind of knows him a bit more. So. And we've seen that run defense on the Patriots. It could be pitiful. And if Derrick Henry comes back, he's going to rush for 250 yards against them.
Yeah. I don't see the Patriots. I have a feel like my gut says, based on the way the Patriots have been playing at the end, I think the Bills win. And if depending on the seeding, if the Bills can get their home games, some home games in, I think they could be really competitive. I think, but man, I'm having a hard time picking the AFC. Like, I don't want to say Tennessee. I don't believe in Tennessee, but all the other teams are just.
that's why I'm picking Tennessee to make it to the Super Bowl, because it's like it's almost by default.
But I don't like Tennessee either. I don't think they are the team, though. I can see the Bills beating Tennessee. I can see the Bengals. Well,
I can't pick the Bills if I feel like the Patriots Patriots gonna beat the Bills. So I don't know.
I'm gonna say Bengals and Green Bay. No,
Bengals and Green Bay. You go.
Yeah.
So definitely not the Raiders. The Bengals, Patriots, Bills, and then of course the Titans. Kansas City. No one's picking Kansas City. No KC fans. Pittsburgh's not going to.
No, you know what? It is the. I'm trying to avoid being like the easy, but I think it's going to be Kansas City. I just think they're too talented on that team. I just think I don't believe in Tennessee. I think Kansas City is a more complete team, and their defense is even better this year than in the past. I think their defense is playing much better. Yeah. I think it's going to be KC. Is it Green Bay or Tampa is the wild card? And I'm not going to bet against Brady again this year. I just think that what he's been able to do, and you're right, Rodgers chokes at the end. It's going to be Kansas City. It's going to be a rematch.
You can't flip flop here. You can't snake take this. You can't snake take this. Or take snake it. I don't know the correct way. That's what we need, Jarvis.
All right. My heart is for the Bengals. But KC and Tampa.
he's still going.
KC and Tampa for the Super Bowl.
All right. KC and Tampa.
KC gets this round.
Of course. You're a big Mahomes fan. You want him to catch up to Brady. You want him to get 7 rings. Jarvis called it. He called it.
All right, I have to.
All right. KC and Tampa. And I say Tennessee and Dallas. Okay, all right. So we got completely 2 different teams there. I like it.
Tennessee, Dallas, and all right. And then did he pick who he's going to win out of Tennessee and Green Bay?
He did not. But I'm just going to assume he's going to say Green Bay. It's going to say you're going to assume he thinks it's Green Bay. Well, we'll get it out of him. We'll get it out of him before these first game, the wild card games this weekend. So
okay, all right. So you have Tennessee and Dallas, and who's winning the Super Bowl? Dallas is winning the Super Bowl.
Dallas, yes. Right. Dallas. Right. It's coming back to Dallas. I hate Dallas too. I don't want them. I don't want Jerry Jones to win it again. But I think this is the year.
I want to wear my Joe Mixon jersey during the Super Bowl. I want to wear it. So I am praying that it is the Bengals and Tampa.
Okay.
Just so I can be right. But I'm also rooting for Rodgers, even though I hate him. Just because he was on that whole anti-vaccine thing, just like kind of like spitting in everybody's face for like trying to bully him. I actually respected him for that. Just kind of like pushing back. I love when anybody pushes back on the media because I can't stand the media. But so I have a little soft spot for Rodgers, especially since I had him this year on my team and watching him.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah. You fall in love with certain players, Azar. I get it.
Yeah, I get it. I do. Like that's why I have my Joe Mixon jersey. All right. Well, why don't we wrap it up there, Big Meat, and we'll call it the night. And any closing thoughts before we wrap up?
No closing thoughts other than I got to go watch Mayor of Kingstown. I got a whole other show now. How many episodes are there? What am I?
I think it's 8.
Looking forward to 8.
Yeah.
And they're 40 minutes.
40, 50 minutes.
45 minutes.
Yeah, 45, 50 minutes. Yeah, they're not 40. They're about 50 minutes on average. All right.
So I'll bang them out.
I'm sure you will.
Before our next podcast, I'll give you my review of them.
I bet you will. You will enjoy it. And the only recommendation, it's a little bit of a slow show, but if you like Yellowstone, their prequel of 1883 is actually, if you like history and if you're a history buff and like that type of era, it's a very interesting show because they make it very realistic, and you really get a deeper appreciation of like that life back in the 1800s when they were trying to explore the West and especially what's interesting, they bring immigrants into it from an immigrant's perspective coming to this country, how hard it must have been. They were in this show, they're German immigrants, but to come from their country and try to settle into the wild West of the United States at that time, it's a fascinating thing to watch. And I think it's obviously after the Civil War and all that, but from a history point of view, it's actually a very fascinating show to watch. But like I said, it's a drama. I didn't really get into Yellowstone because the same thing. I think it's one of those slow dramas.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't really.
Would you say it's set in 1883?
It's set in 1883. But again,
I only watched the first episode. I see what you mean, and I did watch Yellowstone. I do watch Yellowstone. I'm not a big fan of it. I think it's too slow of a show.
That's what I've seen my wife watch. I've sat while she watched it, and I'm like, it just seems slow.
And this past season, I thought it was building up, and I thought it was like the story was, but it just ended with a whimper. It was just the season ended. I was like, what? Like that's how they ended the season? Like they put all of their eggs in a basket the first episode of the season. That first episode was great, and you're like, all right, this is how this show is going to be the rest of the season. Nothing happened the rest of the season. It was just like, what the hell am I watching here? Like you go out, it's like a bait and switch. Like, oh, here's that first episode. You know, it's like, oh, everyone's excited, and then like nothing happens the rest of the season. So
they string you along, stringing you along. All right. So, well, like I said, I liked 1883, but like again, it's set like people migrating to the West. So it's a very fascinating show. Yeah, more interesting to me than wanting to watch Yellowstone. But that's my opinion. But anyways,
there you go.
All right, Big Meat. It was fun to get back together, reset our podcast. We'll have to get Jarvis's pick, the official pick. We don't want him to take Snake on this.
Yes. Yeah, we can't let him get away with it. And and maybe at some point this year, maybe we give Raccoon another chance.
All right.
Maybe he was just having a bad day that day. Who knows? You know, maybe we'll give him another opportunity.
Yeah,
we're all about second chances here.
I would love to. I would love to. You know, maybe during the next WrestleMania, we bring in crazy sidekick there to do his thing. Maybe R3 will make a special appearance.
Yeah, but my favorite wrestling event of the year, Royal Rumble, is coming up in a couple of weeks.
Oh, that's what it was. I was trying to remember what event. There is an event coming up.
Yeah, that's my favorite one of the year. I love the Royal Rumble, and that's always good to kind of predict who's going to win that. So maybe that's when we can invite him on to give his expert analysis.
All right.
And so me, him, and Jarvis could just talk about WWE, and you could just sit and listen.
Well, you know what? The one thing that this podcast will be on break during the Winter Olympics. I'm just going to let you know right now. I'm boycotting China.
There you go.
All right, Big Meat. Let's wrap it up there. As always, Thank you for listening, everybody, and follow us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and of course YouTube, and hopefully we'll hit some other platforms. We were discussing some newer, more other platforms that are out there that we'll try to jump onto. But other than that, hopefully we'll have an episode next week for everybody. Take care, Big Meat.
See ya.